Curtis Snell, would you deliver the invocation, please?
Yes. Rise, please. Thank you, dear Heavenly Father, for this day, Lord. And Lord, thank you for this opportunity to meet with the Cherokee people and serve our communities, Lord. And Lord, give us wisdom as we go through these meetings tonight. Lord, just be with us and the council and the chief. Lord, bless the servicemen who serve our country, Lord. Dear Lord, just take us home safely tonight. We know the rain is terrible. And Lord, just be with us as we go through this meeting, Lord. Thank you. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Snell. Roll call.
Bill Anglin.
Here.
Bill John Baker.
Here.
Jack Baker.
Here.
Carly Buzzard. Julia Coates.
Here.
Bradley Cobb.
Honey.
Joe Crittenden.
Here.
Jody Fishinghawk.
Here.
Meredith Fraley.
Here.
Janelle Fulbright.
Here.
Don Garvin.
Honey.
Chuck Hoskin Jr.
Here.
Tina Glory Jordan.
Present.
Curtis Snell.
Here.
Chris Soap.
Here.
David Thornton. Kara Cowan Watts.
Honey.
We have a quorum.
We have a quorum. Next order of business is approval of the May 12 regular session minutes.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Discussion on the May 12 regular session minutes. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Ms. Cowan-Watt?
Madam Speaker, if it's appropriate at this time, I'd like to amend the agenda to add 7 items.
Ma'am.
Starting at the end of new business in the appropriate order. On resources today in committee, we have items that have a sense of urgency. So there's a resolution on the Brownsfield grant to the EPA as one item. The next item is the underground storage tank training program grant for ITEC, the Intertribal Environmental Council. Then a grant for radon. A grant submission for the Brownsfield lead-based paint cleanup grant for the Sling Courthouse. Next is the next item. And the next item is the U.S. Park Service for a historic preservation grant for the Sling Courthouse. Then another item, place in trust, the Talentesky Courthouse. And then a 7th item is acknowledging from this council to the chief receipt of the Claremore Federal Building from the government. And those would be a total of 7 items to make the agenda 16 tonight. Make a motion to amend the agenda.
Second the motion.
We have a motion to amend the agenda to add the 7 items that came out of resource today. And we have a second. Any discussion on amending the agenda? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next order of business is State of the Nation. Principal Chief Chad Smith.
Good evening. It's my pleasure to appear in front of you on June 16, 2008. I want to say it's a special day because it's my mom's birthday. She is 84 years old today. Still drives, still cantankerous. We have to wrestle for who picks up the check when we go out to eat. So I'm very thankful that her health is good. She's mentally alert and she's still with us. This time we usually acknowledge those who passed on. Cleo Deeringwater worked for Sequoia High School for 14 years. William Philo Carroll, the father of Paula Hamby in our administration office. Gerald Powell, the father of Sonny Powell, an electrician for the Cherokee Nation. Ryan Snell, the son of Jerry Snell, who works in our Human Services Department. Roxy Bishop, Councilman Curtis Snell's mother-in-law. Samuel L. the brother of Lula Mankiller Elk, who works in the Cultural Resource Center. Johnson Van, Gail Miller's father. Verdina Stevens, Ben Stevens' mother. Is there anybody else that we should acknowledge, Councilman?
Jerry Harris from Fort Gibson, retired teacher.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
One of our original enrollees, Asa Glenn Purcell, died in Houston this last month.
Yes. Yes, sir.
And Eli Dick from Sequoia County. Also, Nola Ellis from Sequoia County.
Let's keep their families and friends and community members in our prayers and thoughts, and let's have a moment of silence at this time. Well, the Cherokee Nation observed Memorial Day a few weeks ago. Something that many of you may not know is that part of the Cherokee Nation law provides that we recognize several individuals who were an important part of our history. These individuals were outstanding persons of integrity who befriended the causes and rights of the Cherokee Nation and its people, far beyond any obligation of humanity. Cherokee Nation Resolution 9327, passed in 1993, memorialized individuals who, by their words and deeds, contributed to the survival, preservation, and lives of the Cherokee Nation and its people. And these were non-Indians. So during the Memorial Weekend holiday, we laid flowers and wreaths for the remembrance and appreciation of the following individuals. Senator William Bate of Tennessee. He was the only one in the Senate who spoke against the allotment in the Curtis Act of 1898. Dr. Angie DeBow, Justice Joseph Story, and Justice Smith Thompson, who opposed the majority opinion in the first case of Cherokee Nation versus Georgia to our benefit. Reverend Samuel Worcester, who befriended the Cherokees in the old country and came across the Trail of Tears and is buried here in Tahlequah, actually Park Hill. And Reverend Evan Jones, who befriended the Cherokees during the American Civil War and prior to that, who is buried in the Tahlequah City Cemetery. For veterans tonight, we have a unique situation because we would like to recognize those veterans that have been unrecognized on our council. And we have two veterans, Curtis Snell and Harley Buzzard. If each of you will come forward and receive these plaques and our token of our appreciation for your service, we'd I would ask each to say something about their service. Curtis, if you will, first.
Yes, I served in the United States Air Corps way back there, a long time ago, in the 50s. And I got to spend a little tour in Thule, Greenland, where the temperature was like 85 below zero in the wintertime. Summertime, we got up to 34. So, I was glad to leave there, and I enjoyed my mission there. We was refueling, guarding the United States. The old sailor. Thank you.
Well, it hadn't been quite as long as Curtis was since I've been. I'm gaining on him slowly, but anyway, it was a pleasure for me to join the service. Actually, I got drafted in the second of the year to get into some courses that I wanted to take, so I actually stayed in for 3 years and come out of the service after 3 years at the rank of Staff Sergeant E6. It's an honor to serve your country, and it's an honor to serve as Cherokee Nation's Tribal Council member. Thank you.
Thank you. program news updates. This last weekend, we had an Employee Appreciation Day. A number of our council attended. We had 2,800 employees and their family. It was a great day. The weather was perfect. And it gave us the opportunity to acknowledge the hard work of our employees who makes the success of the Cherokee Nation possible. We also acknowledge at that time and in the future we'll bring them back to appear in front of this council, those employees who received attribute awards, personifying particular attributes that lead to Cherokee leadership. Not only do I want to congratulate the Cherokee Nation employees, but especially C&E employees on their support of the 45th Infantry Brigade, a reserve unit from northeastern Oklahoma. And Sean Slayton is going to tell you more about how C&E supported our troops. But you may have seen them on a local TV story. They collected items for the 45th Infantry. They sent lots of items like shampoo, batteries, razors, pens, pencils, sunscreen, books, toothpaste, lotion, and lots more. I'm sure the soldiers appreciate their efforts. This is a cause that the Cherokee Nation, and especially Joe Grayson, our Deputy Chief, embraces and is firmly supportive. The Cherokee Nation officially adopted the 45th Infantry several years ago, so congratulations, C&E and Gina Elia, for support of the military and their families. And Scott Ennis, who is one of our employees, who is serving in Iraq. If you remember, there was 4 of our employees that were deployed at the same time. He was actually in town this weekend and was here in the complex today on medical leave. And at first we sort of respond hoping that he was all right, but actually it was for a joyous occasion. He got medical leave to come back to join in the birth of his child with his wife, and he was going to come back this evening and talk to us about his experience in Iraq, but he was actually taking his wife and newborn child home. They had been just discharged from the hospital. But in our conversations this afternoon, he wanted to send his sincere and earnest wishes and thanks to the Cherokee Nation and all American people for support of our soldiers in Iraq. So we continually pray for their safe return. Our education department has a number of programs going on this summer. One is the Cherokee Nation Youth Choir. They just returned from a trip where they sang in Washington, D.C. at the Kennedy Center and at the Smithsonian. They then traveled to Rome, Georgia to sing, and then they went on to Cherokee, North Carolina, where they performed for a child support conference hosted by the Cherokee Nation. They also performed at the opening of the Eastern Band's outdoor drama, Unto These Hills. Also, in the last 2 weeks, we've had about 40 young people, young leaders with the JOM program that have been studying for weeks and months on heritage and law and history of the Cherokee Nation and took a cultural trip to Cherokee, North Carolina. Other program activities in the last month include the Child Support Conference in Cherokee, North Carolina. It was well attended by 26 different tribes and 150 participants. Our emergency management folks held an intertribal conference in Catoosa. About 180 emergency management personnel from FEMA, 14 different tribes, state and county, as well as local health departments attended. The 3-day conference offered more than 30 workshops, and they plan for this to be an annual event. Also, the Cherokee Nation's language program attended a joint language symposium in Cherokee, North Carolina. One of the great stories that came back is one of the immersion kids was at an event where they had an open mic, and different people came and spoke, and they asked her to sing. Well, about 5, 6 years old, she approached the mic and sang all 3 verses in Cherokee of Amazing Grace, and it brought the participants to tears. And then she was asked to sing again to lead the entire body. So it was a great opportunity for the Eastern Band and the Cherokee Nation to form those bonds to recapture and rebuild our language. Earlier this year, Cherokee Nation Enterprises produced a short film to promote the tribe's cultural tourism initiative. This film was contracted to a Cherokee company called Cherokee Media Limited. The film was shown at the Canes Film Festival, which is quite an honor to just be able to show it. And it has received a Telly Award. The Telly Award is for great commercial and advertising film production. The Cherokee Nation's Youth Leadership Program has begun this summer, and today we have from Career Services their selection of those students with 3-point or better grade point average in their high school and college studies. These students are Cherokee and reside in the 14-county area of the Cherokee Nation. The participants attended 2 weeks of orientation concerning the Cherokee Nation government, Cherokee culture, language, history, services, and career opportunities. They will spend the remaining weeks of the program at their assigned work sites. And let me introduce at this time our summer leadership participants. Tristan McDowell from Tahlequah, if you will stand. Trace Kazenzia, say that for me. Kazay, thank you, from Sallisaw. Angela Farmer from Tahlequah. John Brooks Jr. from Gore. Whitney Twist from Porham. Tiffany Natividad, thank you, from Locust Grove. Aston Test Hardison from Tahlequah, and Zachary Goodrich from Tahlequah. So let's acknowledge their leadership. Thank you very much. Also, we had a small briefing before the council meeting began, and I would encourage the council to, and I believe Jack Baker may take the initiative to do this, to amend our budget for modification for our summer youth program, to increase the budget amount for $150,000, and our community youth program for a likewise amount of $150,000. Last, I'd like to acknowledge a great milestone in our history. Cherokee Nation's Jack Brown Treatment Center is celebrating its 20th year in service to our people. We have some of the staff tonight. We have a new director, Darren Dry. So the staff from Jack Brown Treatment Center, will you stand and let us recognize your great work? They have countless stories of how they've been able to help youth turn around their lives and break the dependency on drugs and alcohol and become outstanding leaders in our community. So with that, thank you very much, Waddell.
Thank you, Chief Smith. Next item is action of unfinished business. There's none pending. We'll move on to committee reports. The first report is David Sutherland, the Housing Authority.
Good evening.
Evening.
I have a brief report this evening. Housing Authority's regular board meeting that was scheduled for tomorrow evening has been canceled. One of our commissioners is going to be out of state most of the rest of the month. Our next meeting is going to be July the 15th, which will be our regular July meeting. The board passed the budgets for FY09 at their May meeting, so those are not pressing, so I think we can get by till July. I missed last month's council meeting. I was attending the annual convention of the National American Indian Housing Council. Marty Sharavloff from Alaska was reelected as the chairman of the organization. He did run unopposed. The membership also passed a resolution that was presented by the Great Lakes region calling for Congress to pass the Nahazda reauthorization bill without any amendments and urge them to allow the courts to settle the Freedmen issue. We thank the Great Lakes region. It was good of them to bring that. The reauthorization bill has been approved by both the House and Senate. I'm not sure when the two groups will get a final bill ironed out. We hope soon, but that we'll just wait and see on that. We're still experiencing moving pains during the transition. We've had several staff that's relocated to different offices, and when you start relocating people and programs, you got phones to deal with and things of that nature. So we've had a couple of hiccups, and if you all get calls about such and such, couldn't get a hold of such and such, let me know so I'll be aware of it, so if there's a problem, we can get it fixed. But I think a lot of those things are getting ironed out. Staff's been real great in the transition. They've worked hard to get acclimated to their new surroundings and new, I call it this morning, the new language, and it just about is when you start coding invoices and doing all those things you have to do to get it's a whole different language here, and they're having to learn that. So they've been great. We're also close to replacing some of the folks that took other jobs as a part of the transition. We had some rehab folks that went to work for rental assistance and so on and so forth, but I think in the Claremore one was one in particular we've been missing, and I think they interviewed for that position today. So we're getting there. Things seem to be falling into place. With that, that's my report for the evening. If anyone has any questions.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Sutherland? Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Next report is Cherokee Nation Enterprises, and I see Mr. Slayton sitting in for Mr. Stewart.
Good evening, Council. Dave asked me to step in for him tonight, and I'm glad to do that. We're reporting on April financially, and it was the best April that we've ever had at C&E. That continues to be a result of our hard work of our people and all the good things that they do and the way they take care of our customers. I'm also happy to report preliminary that May was the biggest May that we ever had, and Dave will be reporting on that at Executive Finance Committee. And normally April, May, and June are soft months for us financially with the weather improving, everybody getting outside, but so far this quarter it's been very strong. In addition to just the normal financial report, and we contributed $92,000 in tax collections to the nation this month. Our expansions are rolling along. If you've been able to go by Catoosa lately, you'll see that tower is really coming along. I believe we're setting steel on the 12th floor, and we were up on the 3rd and 4th floor the other day. It's really going to be something to see when that's completed. Spent most of this morning and early afternoon at West Siloam in a construction meeting there, and that facility is really going to be something the nation can be proud of. We're scheduled to open that on November the 15th. They've asked for a few rain days, so we may be pushing into December if they get their way. And the same thing at Catoosa. Hopefully we'll open the gaming floor on December 15th, and the first 10 floors of the hotel in February, the remaining 9 floors in March. So construction's pushing forward, and those two products are going to be something that the nation can be very proud of when they're done. Jobs, we're currently at the end of May at 3,100 employees. 58% continues to hold as Cherokee. Total Native American employment of 71%. The management level, 56% are Cherokee. Other Native American is at 9% for a total of 65% of our management staff, Native American. As Chief Smith mentioned a while ago, our Community Relations Department, which Lisa Long heads up and Brian on the Hill, challenged the company to a troop drive. And I'm very pleased to announce, as Chief Smith said, that we collected over 40,000 items for the troops. And they did something a little different this year. They had a competition within the company, and I've been here 11 years, 10 as Chief Financial Officer or Director of Accounting, Finance, and it comes as no surprise to me that our Security and Surveillance Department won the competition. That department, historically, since I've been here, has been one of the backbones and strengths of the company. I had the pleasure several months ago of introducing a gentleman that helped with the delivery of a baby out here, and there's untold stories of the times that they help our patrons and even our employees in times of crisis, and it all seemingly flies below the radar, but we couldn't do what we do without them, and that's usually the sign of a department that has a great leader, and we're fortunate that we do. And Dave Roberts is here, and I'd like for him to come down, if he will, and just take a minute or two and tell what his department did. There are a lot of them here tonight, and maybe if you'll introduce them and let them and kind of tell their story here.
While I was sitting up here looking out at the council, I first came here in June of 2000, and Mr. Garvin and Mr. Thornton are the only people that remain from the council that made me sweat every time I walked in here. But I'd like to tell you, I'd like for my people to stand, if you would. There was competition, but actually we blew them out. And these people represent to me what the CNE employee is all about. They responded to a challenge. They ran off and left everybody else, their competitors. They did it out of civic obligation, a sense of patriotism, and they worked hard. I think total out of CNE's contribution, these people contributed over 22,000 items. And it was a temptation to me because they bring in food and cookies for the troops. And I used to fly helicopters in Vietnam, and I'd fly chow out to the troops, and I'd get in those Merrimack cans and get hot food, and then I'd go to sleep on the way back. So I'm used to pilfering. But I'm really proud of
That
it.
doesn't give us a lot of confidence that our has confessed to pilfering.
But anyway, they've done a wonderful job, and please be seated, and I'm really proud of them. Thank you.
There were some unique
Madam Chair.
Yeah.
methods to how they did things.
Sean,
Oh,
can
I'm
you hold
sorry.
just a second?
Sean, I'd like to say something to Mr. Roberts. When he first came here, he brought something that we needed very bad. He brought his education and experience that has helped this nation in a good way. And I want him to know that, of course, Don Garvin and I was on the council, but you did withstand my background check, and I appreciate you coming. Thank you, Mr. Tucker.
Dave, Chiefs asked if you'd have your people introduce themselves and what they do for us.
If you would, just stand up, stand off, down there.
Ryan Darty, Security Supervisor for Telephone Fort Gibson. Greg Lee, Security Supervisor, Roseland, South.
Teresa Wright, Administrative Assistant, West Hall.
Bill Trevor, Security Manager, Paul Brown, Security Manager, West Hall. Tom Wall, Security Manager, Top Hall, Fort Gibson. Billy Stumbarger, Security Manager, Roland and South.
Ken Holloway, Senior Security Manager for Catoosa, Will Rogers, and West Side Home Casinos.
Surveillance Manager for Roland, Southall, Top Hall, and Fort Gibson. I'm set.
I'm Rachel Phillips. I'm the Surveillance Supervisor for Roland, Southall, Top Hall, Fort Gibson.
Amber Schroeder, West Alamo Springs, Lead Surveillance Agent. Susan Hefner, Corporate Surveillance Supervisor.
Mike Eccles, West Alamo Surveillance Manager.
Jimmy Smith, CNA Senior Manager, Roland Surveillance.
Thank you, guys. And Chief, there probably would have been an incident report if they'd have seen Dave. There was a deal at West Siloam one time called the Great Steak Caper, and our surveillance department at West Siloam was the one that tipped that off. So some people were having steaks after hours. And I don't know if surveillance tipped them off because they weren't included in that or what. But we got it shut down pretty quick. Some of the other departments reached out beyond C&E, and our construction department got donations from Flint Co., Cherokee Builders, Oil Capital Electric. I think even security and surveillance got some from Gatorade and Pryor, Lowe's, and Siloam and Triton Electric. So it was an effort even beyond C&E, and we appreciate all those that helped too. If there are any questions, I'll try to answer those for you.
Any questions, comments? Mr. Garvin?
I just want to ask Mr. Roberts a question concerning delivery of this baby. Did you teach these people how to deliver babies?
No, sir, I did.
Thank you.
I told them to use your cell phone, actually.
I think you left out Mr. Baker. You were here too in 2000, weren't you?
No.
No.
I took a brand.
Well, okay. Any other questions?
No further questions. Thank you, Sean, for a nice report. Next report is Brian Collins, Cherokee Nation Industries. Good evening, Brian.
Good evening, Council. I'm reporting tonight on our May financials. It was a close month. We were very close to turning a profit. We were close to a break-even point. But what we keep seeing is a lot of different struggles in different areas. So I want to kind of walk through this like I did last time I talked to you, so you can have a little education as to where some of the pieces are, what we're doing to try and keep the ship turning in the right direction. Revenue year-to-date, $54,973,000. We're still tracking an overall loss for the year of $1.1 million. May, we had, in actual revenue for May, was $6.9 million. The loss for May was $102,000. And for reference points, we got to realize that, in our construction, year-to-date, we're down $12.4 million in construction from the overall projects. In staffing services, we're down approximately $7 million from the loss of some of the Germany contracts. Some of the things that we're doing to correct these within construction is that we have recently been awarded the Bentley Park project out of Bigsby, which is a great step forward for our construction unit. And that is our first project outside of doing the nation's projects. It was a $5.3 million project, and it's going to be about 148th and Memorial, just a little bit east of there. And the city of Bigsby has awarded us that, and it is a great step in the right direction. So some of the things that will be coming forward to the council in the very near future is support and bonding solution. A lot of the ups and downs within the construction have been the not having enough consistent projects keeping the teams busy. So we've hired some additional staff. We have some gentlemen with a lot of experience, and I see a growth in our construction business. Within the staffing services, contracts that were lost because size and no longer, the contracts terminated. We have right now proposals out on opportunities that can be as many as 700 employees if we're so awarded that much, and dental contracts for the nation with the Army. So I don't have a confidence level that I can tell you other than we've put an aggressive bid in for that to try and recover and recoup some of the lost revenues in that area. Within the telecommunications, the recession with AT&T and the nation as a whole in all of their various areas, telecommunications is down about $1 million. Some of the things that we're doing is aggressively going to shows, broadening our marketing approach. We've had 2 meetings with the president of AT&T Supply Chain. There was a meeting today, and we're trying to aggressively go after business that's, or add business that we're missing because of the recession. Within A&D, we have an upswing of about $1 million from its standpoints from year to date compared to last year. Some of the promising areas of what A&D is bringing is the experience with Sikorsky. Sikorsky has been calling, and I imagine over the last 30 days since we've last talked, we have additional business that's coming our way, additional work that's going to employ Cherokees in the Stillwell area. Bell Helicopter, visit there with Bell. And Bell's, I can tell you right now, it was an aggressive approach we went for Bell. And Bell awarded us a good contract. And after the last management review with the Bell executive staff, they love the Cherokee Heart, and they've committed to do more work, and there's more opportunities coming to us. And it's all about the success that we're having. And a lot of it is in the startup cost and the startup implementation process. But I want the council to know is that we're doing great things in that area that's going to put more Cherokees to work in the general area. Staffing-wise, local employees, we have a total of 334 employees, 279 Cherokees. We currently have 25, that's not in this number, 25 in training. And based on the commitments that we've got from Sikorsky and some of the other workloads that are going on, over the next 90 days, we'll probably be needing to add at least another additional 50 people just to keep up with the staff, the staffing requirements that we need to produce the product. So I see a lot of good things. What the council also needs to understand is year-to-date, we're down 26%. Month-to-date, down 32%. And we're holding very close to a break-even. And we're still working hard to keep turning that around and gaining additional business that we feel that we can do and we can perform. So I appreciate your support. And our next council meeting, board meeting, will be July 28th in Tulsa at 2 o'clock. So is there any questions?
Questions, comments for Mr. Collins? It's not. Thank you, Brian.
All right, thank you.
Good report. Next report is Cherokee Nation Businesses, Brad Carson. No? Mr. Carson isn't here, so they have to double up next month. Next item is old business. There are none pending. We move on to new business. The first item is the swearing in of the council-appointed election commissioners, Martha Calico from Adair County and Roger Johnson from Skiatook. And Justice Poteet is here to do that. Cherokee Nation election law requires that an independent election commission be composed of 5 members. 2 of those members are appointed by the tribal council, 2 are appointed by the principal chief, and then the 5th member is appointed by those 4 commissioners. These commissioners have the responsibility, among other activities, of conducting all general and special elections. And if Ms. Calico and is Mr. Johnson here? Is he? Oh, there he is. If Mr. Johnson and Ms. Calico will come forward, Justice Poteet from our Supreme Court will do the swearing in. And congratulations, Martha and Roger. Ms. Calico, you've been working with the Election Commission how many years now?
Well, I think the first election commission I served on was 1995.
And then you've worked as volunteer?
Every one of them since that time.
Yeah.
It's
Mr.
a
Johnson,
challenge,
this will be a wonderful experience for you.
I'm looking forward to it.
They went to get a Bible, so they'll
Let's
be
do a
right.
copy and have it in the council chambers all the time. It's a nice thing.
Yes, sir, Mr. Justice Poteet.
This is just a suggestion. They have the Bible. Right hand, raise your right hand, put your left hand in the Bible.
Turn away.
And all of them does it at the same time.
Justice Poteet.
Yes, ma'am.
We had one, but Phil John left it on his nightstand.
They want to get a picture of them of us.
Okay.
You want them? Get one of them. I'll get that.
That's all right, Doug, we'll take it out.
We'll never take it.
Raise your right hand and place your left hand on the Bible. And repeat after me. I, your name, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the duties of Election Commissioner of the Cherokee Nation.
Faithfully execute the duties of the Cherokee Nation.
And will to the best of my ability
And will to the best of my ability
preserve, protect, and defend the constitutions
protect, defend the Constitution
of the Cherokee Nation and the United States of America.
of the Cherokee Nation and the United States of America.
I further swear or affirm
And further swear or affirm
that I will do everything within my power
that I will do everything within my power
to promote the culture, heritage, and traditions of the Cherokee Nation.
to promote the culture, heritage, and traditions of the Cherokee Nation.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Roger, would you or Martha like to say anything? Martha, would you? Congratulations and thank you very much. Next item is number 2. It's a resolution that submits fiscal year 2008 Indian Community Development Block Grant to the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Mr. Buzzard?
Madam Chairman, I'd like to make that in the form of a motion, please.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 3 is a resolution supporting the Native American Graves and Repatriation Act at the University of California. Ms. Calm Watts.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And this resolution is a reiteration of the National Congress of American Indian resolutions in support of those tribes affected by NAGPRA and the issues at the University of California at Berkeley. I now move for approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 4 is a resolution that authorizes the Environmental Programs Group to submit an application to the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. Mr. Snell.
Yes, I would like to move for approval of this resolution.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 5 is a resolution authorizing transfer of title to mutual help housing participant. Mr. Crittenden?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This participant has fulfilled her obligations with respect to the mutual help occupancy agreement and received a certificate of release and satisfaction from the Cherokee Nation Housing Authority, and I'd put that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 6 is an act relating to amendment to the Mixed Beverage Sales Act. As currently drafted, the Mixed Beverage Sales Act allows only Cherokee Nation enterprises be granted a license by the Cherokee Nation Tax Commission to sell certain mixed beverages on trust property. A third-party, non-tribal lessee operating a restaurant on trust property is not authorized to apply for such a license. This amendment allows C&E or other person approved by C&E to apply for a mixed beverage license. Additionally, it allows a tax commission to suspend tribal excise tax if the licensee is paying a similar tax to the state. It also tightens the law somewhat covering serving intoxicated persons to move more closely align with state law, with the major objective of preventing or reducing dram shop liability. And I would move for approval of item 6.
Second.
Madam Speaker?
Yes, Mr.
Yes,
Sokes?
I would like to discuss this just briefly and say that I am opposed to this legislation, to this act, because of the fact that it allows the tax commission to suspend monies that have been earmarked at, basically 2 cents on the dollar for, areas that promote mental health and related issues such as substance abuse and those things. So it won't be getting my support tonight.
Any other comments, questions? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in, roll call. It is an act.
Harley Buzzard,
No.
Julia Coates,
Yes.
Bradley Cobb,
Yes.
Joe Crittenden,
No.
Jody Fishinghawk,
No.
Meredith Fraley,
Yes.
Janelle Fulbright,
No.
Don Garvin,
No.
Chuck Hoskin Jr.,
No.
China Gloria Jordan,
No.
Curtis Snell,
No.
Chris Soap,
No.
David Thornton,
No.
Kara Cowan Watts,
Yes.
Bill Anglin,
Yes.
Bill John Baker,
No.
Jack Baker.
Yes.
We have 6 yes, 11 nay.
6 yes, 11 no. Motion fails. Okay, item 7 is a resolution authorizing suspension of Cherokee Nation sales tax collection for non-tribal lessees. The tax commission collects sales tax on retail sales located on trust property. There's a question as to proper jurisdiction for retail sales tax paid by non-tribal business enterprises located on trust property. At this time, the Oklahoma Tax Commission intends to impose its retail sales tax on taxable transactions conducted by non-tribal lessees. This resolution authorizes suspension of the Cherokee Nation sales tax collection until a jurisdictional question can be resolved. The non-tribal business will pay sales tax to the state under protest, and if it is, after negotiation with the state, if it is determined the Cherokee Nation Tax Commission has jurisdiction, the amounts collected by the state will be refunded to the Cherokee Nation Tax Commission. And I would move for its approval.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Roll call. Yes, as you support the resolution.
Chuck Hoskin Jr.,
Yes.
China Gloria Jordan,
No.
Curtis Snell,
Yes.
Chris Soap,
No.
David Thornton,
Yes.
Kara Cowan Watts,
Yes.
Bill Anglin,
Yes.
Bill John Baker,
Yes.
Jack Baker,
Yes.
Harley Buzzard,
Yes.
Julia Coates,
Yes.
Bradley Cobb,
Yes.
Joe Crittenden,
No.
Jody Fishinghawk,
No.
Meredith Fraley,
Yes.
Janelle Fulbright,
Yes.
Don Garvin.
Yes.
Yes and 4 nay.
13 yes and 4 no. Motion carries. Item 8 is a resolution authorizing financial depositories for Cherokee Nation. Mr. Baker, Jack
Yes.
Baker.
This resolution corrects the name, the former Bank One to J.P. Morgan Chase, and adds 2 other institutions, the R.C. Bank of Claremore, Oklahoma, and Grand Savings Bank of Grove, Oklahoma. And I move for its approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 9 is an act amending the fiscal year 2008 budget through Mod 8. Mr. Jack Baker.
Yes, this budget mod adds to the funding source of general fund operations of $7,894,430,000 from the Tribal Judgment Fund. The expenditures are $950,000 for the Constitutional Defense Fund, $6.5 million to the Capital Improvement Reserve, $83,876 to the Juvenile Healing Court, and $177,935 to the Title IV Loan Fund, and $30,000 for prior chiefs' memorials. It also transfers $352,721 from the Cherokee Nation to the Cherokee Nation Education Corporation, and this fund was set up to provide scholarships for higher education. In addition, due to the chief's request, those items all came out of the Finance Committee. I would also add to this budget mod $150,000 additional funding to the summer intern program and $150,000 additional to the Community Youth Grant Program. And these are due to the large number of participants in these programs and there's a shortage of funds to pay students. So I move for the approval.
Second, with a friendly amendment, that we pull the $352,721 from the Gammon Trust to give the attorneys time to make sure that we're crossing our T's and dotting our I's.
Okay, and I will accept that.
Do you want this
By acclamation?
acclamation? All in favor of this budget mod with a friendly amendment to strike the Gammon Trust Trust Fund out of the budget for further study? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Good job, Mr. Baker.
Yep.
Okay, we have 7 new items that were added under the amendment. These came out of the Resource Committee meeting, and they are in your book here under Resource. The first item under that particular agenda is a resolution authorizing the Office of Environmental Programs to submit a grant for a Brownsfield grant, an application for a Brownsfield grant. Ms. Cowan-Watts.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This grant would seek $250,000 in funds with zero match required from the tribe in order to locate, evaluate, remediate, plan, design sites on or near tribal land for Brownsfields, as well as provide training and development for our employees to actually do that work. I move for approval.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. That would be item 10. Item 11 is a resolution authorizing Cherokee Nation Environmental Program to submit a grant for the Intertribal Environmental Council Consortium. Ms. Cowan-Watts.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This grant would provide $150,000 with $0 in match requirement from the tribe for underground storage tank programs, which would be technical assistance for the ones we own. It would require a database in GIS or Geographical Information Systems for actually locating and pinpointing those exactly where they're at, as well as instruction and course for the operator course of underground storage tanks. I move for approval.
Second.
In second, any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 12 is a resolution authorizing the submission of a proposal to the Environmental Protection Agency for a radon pilot project. Ms. Cowan-Watts.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This is for a radon program similar to the ones we've had in the past for homeowners in order to train them to do their own testing in their homes for radon. The grant is for $89,008 with a required in-kind match for 40% or $35,603. And I move for approval.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, item 13 is a resolution authorizing our Environmental Programs Group to submit an application for a Brownsfield lead-based paint cleanup grant for the Sling Courthouse. Mr. Baker.
This grant has provided necessary cleanup money for the removal of lead-based paint from the interior of the Saline Courthouse building. And it's asked for $104,000 federal funds with a match of $20,800 for a total project cost of $124,800. And I move for its approval.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, item 14 is a resolution authorizing our environmental programs groups to submit an application to the National Park Service for a preservation grant for the Saline Courthouse. Mr. Baker.
Okay, the purpose of this resolution is to obtain National Park Service funds to aid in the restoration of the Saline Courthouse. The amount of the grant is $60,000. I move for its approval.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And item 15 is a resolution amending Resolution 3808, authorizing placement of land in trust. Mr. Baker.
This is a resolution that was passed last month authorizing the placement of Talentowski Reconstructed Courthouse 3 miles east of Gore to be placed in trust. And we need to correct the land description of the initial resolution. So I move for its approval.
Second.
Moved in second. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And item 16 is an authorization request and acceptance of land at the Claremore Federal Building. Ms. Callan Watts.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This is a formal acknowledgement from this body that we have asked the chief to accept the Claremore Federal Building from the federal government on behalf of the tribe and is required for completion of that land transfer. And I move for approval.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And now we're moving on down to announcements. Mr. Baker.
Yes. Everybody here and that is watching are invited tomorrow evening music starts at 5 o'clock, dinner at 6 o'clock. Tina and myself are having a community meeting at the Tahlequah Community Building here in Tahlequah. And you can have hog or fish or both, beans, fried bread, fried taters, and drinks and homemade desserts. So everybody's invited.
Thank you, Mr. Baker. Any other? Mr. Garvin?
Yes. I received a call this morning from a Dexter neighbor down at Porham, and she wanted me to announce that they're having a benefit for Henry and Johnsy Birdtail. She has melanoma cancer and needs some help with their bills. And if anyone would like to donate or attend this meeting, it's 11:30 to 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon at the Porham Wheeler Estates. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garvin. Any other announcements? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move.
Second.
Moved in second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, adjourned.